You know, in any competition, we tend to think the biggest, strongest player has it all locked up. It just seems like common sense, right? But what if that's all wrong? What if there's a way to completely neutralize overwhelming strength and actually turn your weakness into your greatest weapon? Let's dive in.
I mean, here's the classic way of thinking, summed up perfectly by Napoleon himself. More troops, more power, you win. It's a philosophy of brute force, a numbers game. But here's the thing, it's only one way to look at a conflict.
Because 2,500 years ago, the legendary strategist Sun Tzu came up with a totally different playbook. He said, forget competing with force, or do li. The real key is to compete with wits, do ji. Now this isn't just about fighting a little smarter, it's about completely rewriting the rules of the game.
So how does this all wits over brawn idea actually work in the real world? Well, Sun Tzu's approach is a bit of a mind-bender, but it's so powerful it can make a superior force completely and utterly helpless. Let's see how.
This is the core of it all. He's not saying you can beat a bigger enemy, he's saying you can make it so they can't even fight you in the first place, which, you have to admit, presents a pretty interesting puzzle. How do you stop a powerhouse opponent from even stepping into the ring?
So, yeah, how do you pull that off? If you can't possibly match your opponent's strength, how do you stop them from crushing you with it? Well, the answer isn't about what you do on the battlefield. It's about what you do inside your opponent's head.
The secret is to attack their awareness, not their army. You manipulate what they see, what they hear. You become unpredictable, formless, so they can't get a read on you. Suddenly, their strength doesn't matter, because their right hand has no idea what their left hand is doing. This whole strategy really breaks down into 4 simple steps. First, you just create total chaos in their thinking. Then, you start feeding them bad information to deceive them. This confusion leads them to split up their forces, which makes them vulnerable. And finally, once they're scattered and all alone, you can pick them off one by one.
So does this kind of thing actually work? Oh, absolutely. Let's take a look at one of the most famous examples in all of history, the story of an incredible underdog named Liu Bang. So, picture this. It's the 3rd century BCE, and China is being torn apart by 2 rivals. On one side, you've got Xiang Yu. This guy is a force of nature, a brilliant general, an aristocrat, and a terrifying warrior with a massive army. And on the other side, you've got Liu Bang, a guy from humble beginnings who was, let's be honest, getting beat on the battlefield again and again.
Now, their whole conflict really came to a head at this place called Guangwu. For months, their armies were just staring at each other across a giant canyon. Xiang Yu, he's getting impatient, he's running out of food, and he tries to force a quick end to it all. But Liu Bang, he just refuses to fight. He endorses long, tense stalemate, and then, at the absolute perfect moment, he strikes the winning blow.
Xiang Yu, who was a big believer in competing with force, basically shouted across the canyon, "Hey, let's just you and I have a duel. Settle this now and stop the people from suffering." He knew he was the stronger warrior, and he wanted to turn the whole war into a simple test of strength, which was his biggest advantage.
But Liu Bang wasn't about to fall for that. He had just been absolutely crushed by Xiang Yu in a major battle. His army was weak, their morale was shot. He knew that any contest based on force, whether it was a duel or a full-on battle, would be a total disaster.
So Liu Bang just shouts back this incredible line. This wasn't him being a coward. This was a declaration of his strategy. He was literally shifting the battlefield away from swords and armor and into the psychological realm of patience, deception, and wits.
So how did Liu Bang's competing with wits strategy actually play out? Well, it was nothing short of a masterclass in deception and psychological warfare, all designed to wear down his much stronger opponent.
Get this. During the standoff, a furious Xiang Yu ordered a hidden archer to fire, and Liu Bang was hit badly in the chest. Now, he knew if his army saw him fall, it would all be over. So what does he do? He grabs his foot and shouts, "The scoundrel shot my toe!" Just an incredible act of deception that saved his army from panicking and stopped Xiang Yu from charging in for the kill.
Liu Bang's strategy took an unbelievable amount of patience. For 10 long months, he just held his ground, refusing to fight, taking insults, all while just waiting for his opponent's strength to finally run out.
And you know what? Eventually, it worked. Xiang Yu's army, miles from their supply lines, got tired and hungry. His massive advantage in strength just completely evaporated over time, and he was finally forced to the negotiating table to sign a truce. But Liu Bang's strategy wasn't just about waiting around.
The very moment Xiongyu let his guard down and started to pull his army back, Liu Bang broke the treaty. He pursued and attacked the unprepared, moralized troops, and that is how he got the final, decisive victory that he never, ever could have won in a fair fight.
Okay, so this story about Liu Bang isn't just ancient history. It is a timeless blueprint for strategy that applies to business, to sports, to pretty much any competitive field you can think of. This is how a tiny startup can outmaneuver a corporate giant, or how a brand new idea can challenge an old, established one.
First off, we have to understand that strategy is a two-sided tool. If you're the weaker one, you use deception to create an advantage, to find the little cracks in the armor. But if you're the stronger one, your main job is to use strategic thinking to defend against deception, to realize when your own strengths are being turned against you. It really does cut both ways.
Your whole approach really depends on where you stand. If you're strong, like Xiongyu was, your biggest vulnerability is being fooled. You have to stay vigilant and question everything. If you're weak, like Liu Bang, your greatest weapon is your opponent's perception, so your job is to shape it. But listen, none of this works without the most important piece of the puzzle, a brutally honest assessment of who's actually strong and who's weak. And all of this brings us to one final question for you. In your own life, your career, your personal goals, whatever your game is, just take a second to think about it. Are you currently playing a game of force, just relying on your resources and authority to push through? Or are you playing a game of wits, using insight and strategy to change the rules themselves? The answer might just change how you win.